That's because you're small, Spencer. You're weak. You got lucky with the walls. You got lucky with us.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 worst characters on The Walking Dead.
What'd you do that for?
If I had to explain it, you wouldn't understand.
Whatever, man, I'm out of here.
For this list, we're looking at the characters in this post-apocalyptic horror series that fans largely hate, or were written so poorly that we'd rather just forget they were ever on the show. Since this goes deep into the story, a spoiler alert is now in effect. Which Walking Dead character's guts did you hate the most? Let us know in the comments. Number 20. Aiden Monroe. The son of previous Alexandria leader Deanna Monroe, Aiden is a hothead who refuses the assistance of Rick and his gang. Driven by his ego, Aiden gets into arguments with Glenn, which largely comes down to the fact that Glenn is a better supply runner than he is. We mainly like to remember him for the way he got clocked in the face by Glenn during a failed sucker punch.
What is going on?
This guy's got a problem with the way we do things.
Why'd you let these people in? Because we actually know what we're doing out there.
Hey, no! That's enough!
Despite not possessing any real leadership skill, Aiden heads a group on a run, ultimately causing his own demise. In his last moments, Aiden admits he's previously left people to die, making this an act of karma.
It was us. The others before. They didn't panic. We did. It was us.
Although he does express remorse for his behavior, Aiden's time on the show is too short to fully redeem him. Number 19. Milton Mamet. Milton is among the enablers to the governor's progression into brutality. As a researcher at Woodbury, he engages in tests on the walkers, which inevitably go nowhere. Due to his position in the governor's inner circle, Milton witnesses the villain's atrocities without intervening. He's a weak character mainly because he never really picks one side, as he feels guilty about aiding the governor while simultaneously feeding him information about the heroes.
Then I have to go back, warn them.
Yeah.
And you're coming with me.
I can't leave Woodbury.
You really want to be a part of this?
I don't know anyone at the prison.
So what?
The pity we might feel for him is gradually lost through his weak-willed attitude and refusal to accept the governor's tyranny. He's ultimately killed by the governor when Milton does try to betray him.
And now you're gonna die. And you're gonna turn. And you're gonna tear the flesh from her bones.
But it's too little too late, especially since the zombified Milton bites Andrea, leading to her ultimate doom as well. Number 18. Netanya. Introduced as the leader of Oceanside, Netanya's policy is to kill anyone outside of her community.
You know a great deal about us now.
If you let me go.
Yes. You see, normally we would have killed you already. We shoot strangers on sight.
Her reasoning is initially justified, since she wants to avoid the Saviors discovering Oceanside's existence. However, Netanya has no layers to her character, basically carrying the need to kill at all times. During her time in the story, the heroes need the other communities to band together. But Netanya's resistance to every call for help turns her into an indirect villain, since fans are inclined to want her out of the way. The show itself appears to have realized this when Netanya is killed during another ambush of the protagonists.
You shouldn't have come here. Drop it, now!
Oceanside residents quickly get over her death, and we can't say we miss her trigger-happy personality either. Number 17. Henry. The Walking Dead's decision to kill off Carl meant another character needed to be adapted for the Whisperer's arc. Henry has a minor role during the battle against the Saviors before receiving more attention when he's a teenager. He never feels like a true part of the show, coming across as a shoehorned character we're suddenly supposed to care for.
As my father said to me once, upon my departure from home, you be respectful, be responsible, be kind, and be safe.
I will that, I promise.
Carol and Ezekiel adopt him during a time skip, so we don't see how he won them over. Henry Henry doesn't have much of a personality either, and it's clear he's just there to be killed off to set up Carol's bid for revenge against the Whisperers.
I can't find Henry.
No! No! Just leave me.
Considering his death is the most memorable thing about him, it shows just how forgettable he was overall.
I wouldn't be leaving if I didn't trust him.
Number 16, Arat. Saviors like Simon have some level of charisma that makes them appealing despite their role in wiping out other communities. Arat also serves as Negan's trusted lieutenant, but doesn't have an edge to her personality that fans can connect with. Instead, her role is primarily to antagonize the good guys, which she does with stone-cold apathy.
Arat, kill somebody.
No, it was me! No!
The 7th and 8th seasons of The Walking Dead carry very somber tones, and Arat doesn't make them any better through her cold-blooded presence. We don't see any real change in her after the Saviors are forgiven by Rick either. Her streak of violence is too great to forgive, and not many hold it against Maggie and Daryl when they allow her to be killed by Oceanside.
Please! What did you say? No exceptions.
Number 15, Gage. Part of the generation who grew up during the apocalypse, Gage doesn't comprehend the dangers outside the community's walls.
We dug the hole a few years back. Tried using a cat as bait, but we didn't catch anything, so we gave up. Then about 6 months ago, came back and voila.
But that's not why he's so unlikable. Gage's role is entirely devoted to creating problems for the heroes. He incites unnecessary drama within the younger residents and encourages his friends to annoy introverts like Henry. Gage becomes more villainous when he blames Lydia for the Whisperer's attack, banding others along with him to harass her.
This is my home. You're my people. Get in there!
There's never any moment where we're encouraged to see things from Gage's perspective, pushing viewers to consider him primarily as a troublemaker. Gage meets a painful demise, which he probably didn't deserve, but at least we've seen the last of him. Number 14, Spencer Monroe. While Aiden shows some measure of regret over his behavior, his brother lives and dies like a coward. Spencer carries the mentality of an entitled brat as the son of Alexandria leader Deanna Monroe. His position weakens after Deanna names Rick as leader before her death, and Spencer continues to carry a grudge. He has no leadership qualities of his own, as Spencer's primary attribute is to hate those in charge.
We should have made a deal with them when we could have. Oh yeah, we're so lucky. You've led us all to the promised land, isn't that right, Rick? Here we are!
Sensing an opening when Negan has Rick under his thumb, Spencer tries to get Negan to eliminate his rival. However, Negan sees through Spencer's lack of scruples and punishes him for having no guts.
If you want to take over, why not just kill Rick yourself and just take over?
What? No, I don't...
The most Spencer offers is a lesson that attempting to backstab someone will get you stabbed in return. Literally, in his case. Number 13, Richard. Kingdom resident Richard hates watching the community provide resources to Negan's men. However, his hopes of starting a revolution are misplaced, as he takes drastic methods to start a conflict. Leads to young Benjamin's death when the Saviors discover their offering is short, which Richard later admits was part of his plan to make the Kingdomers revolt. We get that he wanted to fight for freedom, but allowing others to die makes Richard more cowardly than brave, not to mention the self-righteous attitude he constantly carried himself with.
We have to do something to make them believe us. And then, when we gain their trust back, we
kill them.
Plus, using a teenager's death doesn't exactly make for noble work, as Richard deluded himself to believe. Morgan ends up killing Richard out of revenge for Benjamin, and none of the characters can hold it against him. Number 12, Ron Anderson. The son of Jesse and Pete Anderson, Ron develops a hatred for Rick after the latter kills his father.
Tell me why.
No.
Your father was dangerous.
Rick is dangerous.
He doesn't have anything to do with this.
Ignoring the abuse that Pete had doled out, Ron channels this hatred towards Carl by considering him as a rival. Since fans have followed Rick and Carl's story from the beginning, Ron's negative opinion of them only makes him seem worse.
Your dad's just gonna get more people killed. Because that's what he does. That's who he is. Your dad's a killer.
He also ignores the fact that Rick is looking out for his family, which his father never did. Ron does more bad than good, as his final act of turning the gun on Rick not only gets himself killed, it also causes him to shoot Carl's eye. Rather than feel bad for him, we're inclined to blame Ron for hurting such a beloved character. Number 11, Jadis, Anne. Switching allegiances during war shouldn't be a surprise, but Jadis takes this to ridiculous lengths. Introduced as the leader of the Scavengers, Jadis constantly betrays both Rick and Negan after siding with both factions repeatedly.
No one drops anything. We had a deal.
Tamiel came for the both things, followed ones who took. Made a better deal.
It's never made clear just what she wants, as Jadis also colludes with people outside of the communities without explanation. She puts on the facade of having a primal nature, which goes nowhere apart from creating awkward moments.
Yours?
We're together.
I lay with him after. You care?
While Jadis is cunning and duplicitous, she's far more frustrating to follow. Her appearances are predictable, ending with another one of her betrayals. She might have been interesting had the show expanded upon her secrets, but her departure leaves us wondering what the point of her character was to begin with. Number 10, Lizzie Samuels. Certain characters are too dangerous even by Walking Dead standards, and Lizzie was very destructive to have sticking around. Lizzie never realizes the horrors of the Walker apocalypse and considers the undead to be her friends.
She was playing with me. She wanted a friend.
She wanted to kill you.
I was gonna lead her away.
You could have died.
It's the same thing. You killed her. You killed her.
Her fascination with walkers gets freakier by each episode. So much so that Lizzie develops an obsession with the idea of death itself. While we might feel for her issues considering her age, there comes a point where things go too far. In Lizzie's case, it's when she kills her sister.
Don't worry. She'll come back. I didn't hurt her brain.
There's really nothing to make fans like a character who slaughtered a loved one. So Carol's decision to kill Lizzie in return is understandable. Number 9, Pete Anderson. The best villains are organically built up through the story, while Pete is just a designated antagonist who offers no depth in character. Pete's the first adversary for Rick after he arrives at Alexandria, as Rick learns of Pete's mistreatment of his wife and children. Pete suspects that his wife Jessie and Rick have an attraction, which pushes his violence to the brink.
Step back. Who the hell do you think you are? Someone's trying not to kill you.
No!
You want to stop now? Come into my house!
Stop it!
Unlike most other villains, Pete has no real justification for his evilness, turning him into a one-dimensional bad guy. Each one of his scenes confirm the notion that he's meant to be a despicable man, and the lack of style and charisma only adds to his detestable quality.
You're not one of us!
You don't want to do this.
Get the hell away from me, Rick.
Just stop. Just
Get
now,
away
Pete.
from me.
Stop
Get
now,
away.
Pete.
Get up!
In the end, Rick does us a favor when he shoots Pete right out of the show. Number 8, Sam Anderson. In the Walker apocalypse, some characters can be either very scared or very annoying. Sam happens to be both. The youngest Anderson son is traumatized by Carol when she vividly tells him about walker attacks.
And you won't be able to run away when they come for you. And they will tear you apart and eat you up all while you're still alive.
Sam becomes a mixture of clingy and mopey, routinely imagining the prospect of zombies getting him. It wouldn't have been so bad if we didn't have to follow Sam on screen so much, but episodes focus on Sam's fear to the point where we just want to be done with him. Sam becomes a real nuisance for the others too, as his freak-out around the undead puts everyone in peril.
Sam's looking mom.
Honey, you can do it. Sam, Sam, honey, I need you to come with me.
Sam.
I need you to come with me.
I want to.
It's also what kills off his entire family. True to form, Sam goes out crying in fear and annoying viewers one last time. Number 7, Jared. It's hard to think of a character more sleazy than Jared, who absolutely reveled in his villainy. Openly antagonistic, he intimidates and picks on people under Savior rule out of nothing but personal joy.
We should give them over, Your Majesty.
Yeah, we should give them over, Your Majesty. Or maybe I'll just shove this down your throat.
Since we're watching from the perspective of the heroes, there's a feeling of powerlessness with the way Jared flaunts his authority. Jared is among the characters whose mere presence is an annoyance, as he has zero redeeming qualities. Viewers have no better prospect to consider than to see Jared pay for his terrible attitude. He gets his just desserts when Morgan traps him with walkers, and it's highly satisfying to watch Jared finally bite it. Maybe even more than for the zombies that ate him. Number 6, Ed Peltier. The husband of Carol and father to their daughter, Ed routinely mistreats his family. He does none of the heavy lifting for the survivors and treats his wife like his personal servant.
Problem, Ed?
None that concerns you. You ought to focus on your work. This ain't no comedy club.
In fact, it's because of Ed that Carol starts out meek and helpless, as she receives the worst of his violent outbursts. Ed is such a vile character that he made antagonist Shane look like the hero. Having had enough of his unacceptable behavior, Shane gives Ed the beating of a lifetime that he thoroughly deserved.
You put your hands on your wife, your little girl, anybody else in this camp one more time, I will not stop next time. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? I'll beat you to death, Ed.
Not that it makes him change his ways, though. Fortunately, this jerk's time comes to an end when the walkers unleash their rabid hunger on him. Number 5, Dawn Lerner. When it comes to Dawn, it's all flash and no substance. The leader of Grady Memorial Hospital, Dawn realizes her officers' loyalties are hanging by a thread and does everything to satisfy them. This includes forcing characters like Noah and Beth to cater to her people's every need.
The man I was with, is he here too?
You were alone. If we hadn't saved you, you'd be one of them right now. So you owe us.
Dawn ignores all the problems at the hospital, blaming Beth for the harassment she has to endure from the corrupted officers.
The second it isn't, the second we lose sight of that, it's all over. The thing is, you're not the greater good.
Overall, Dawn carries a one-note personality where her entire motive is just to have the illusion of being in control, and it's not an interesting arc to follow. Then again, fans mainly despise her for her role in causing Beth's death, even if she didn't mean to kill her. Number 4, Nicholas. Nicholas is the perfect representation of what a coward acts like. A supply runner for Alexandria, he favors his own skin over the lives of others, and is responsible for Noah's death. But that's not why he's the worst. Feeling slighted by his cowardice, Nicholas tries to blame Glenn instead.
All he had to do was hold the door. He was hitting on the glass, pushing my door open. They were gonna kill me.
But he panicked.
Or they were trying to, or they just didn't care.
When that doesn't work, he resorts to attempting to kill Glenn just so he can feel like he's won. Just like any other coward, Nicholas's plan backfires, and he ends up begging for mercy.
I was scared. I don't belong. Shut up. I was scared. I was just scared. Shut up. I don't belong. Shut up!
Nicholas still finds a way to make things worse, shooting himself rather than fight the walkers that corner him and Glenn. At least his body indirectly saves Glenn's life, so there's at least one thing Nicholas did right. Number 3, Gregory. Whereas Nicholas was a coward, Gregory was completely spineless, and we despise him all the more for it. Introduced as Hilltop's leader, Gregory tries to double-cross the Saviors by hiring Rick's group to assassinate them. When that fails, he's quick to backstab the heroes to win back the Saviors' favor.
What do you have to say to Rick and the Piss Patrol, Gregory?
The Hilltop stands with Negan and the Saviors.
His weak-willed attitude eventually does him wrong, as Maggie overthrows his position to become the leader Hilltop needs. Despite again trying to betray the good guys to the villains, Gregory weasels his way back to Hilltop. He repays Maggie's kindness by trying to take her life, which fails like all his other schemes.
I'll know that you did this.
I'll attack you because you got his son killed. You blamed me. You attacked me. And I defended myself.
Suffice it to say, nobody was mourning this traitor when he was executed for his crimes. Number 2, Andrea. Comic book fans are well aware that TV's Andrea is nothing like the source material. Whereas the comics Andrea is a badass, this one's known for flubbing up time and time again.
You gonna pull the trigger or what? No!
Whether it's shooting Daryl by accident to hooking up with villains Shane and the Governor, Andrea sure knows how to make things worse. After the initial arc of grieving for her sister's death, Andrea's role is primarily about making the wrong decisions. More significantly, her inaction enables the Governor to attack Andrea's friends, while she takes forever to realize his evil intentions until he sets up her death.
I tried.
You did.
It's a good thing her friends are there when she pulls the gun on herself, because we wouldn't put it past Andrea to somehow mess that up as well.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Lori Grimes. Andrea's got nothing on Lori in the mess-up department. Although she didn't mean it, Lori's responsible for turning Rick and Shane against each other. After Rick forgives Lori for her intimate relationship with Shane, Lori tells him to be wary of his best friend.
And he says you can't protect us, that you're gonna get us killed. He's dangerous, Rick, and he won't stop.
Weirdly enough, she then sends mixed signals to Shane, who concludes that he can have Lori and Carl to himself by eliminating Rick.
Of course I do. Of course I do. Whatever happened between us, whatever the hell we thought it was, and not just you, but...
Lori also creates several other problems, such as hiding her pregnancy from both prospective fathers. Her constant indecision reaches satirical lengths, as if she'll conjure up more ways to botch something else. Although her death is tragic, Michonne ends up becoming a much better mother to Carl and Judith than Lori probably ever could be.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.